Welcome to RetroIsland.com. The only site for everything retro. RetroIsland.com. The Retro Unlims network for everything retro. RetroIsland.com. Gentlemen, and welcome to episode 57 of I Got Gameplay. Now, this episode has been it's kind of a weird one because we're actually missing a few people. Hopefully we'll get them on the show. They'll be available eventually. But we've got a very packed show. It'll be our first show on our brand new network. And yes, brand new. We are actually live on the Retro Unlim network. It's the first ever network produced by Retro Unlim for lovely people like myself who love gaming. And speaking of people who love gaming, of course, I want to introduce you to the hosts of tonight's show. So let's start with the man who puts the X in the XS Gaming podcast. That's Mr. Xander. I think I'm so sexy it hurts. Skullion.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. What's up, everyone? And I want to say I'm sorry I wasn't there last week. I was really, really sick. While you guys were talking about Smash Brothers, I was like passed out. I had
herpes.
Yep, I had herpes all over my mouth.
It made him comatose. Also, we've got two of them. Yes, not just one, but two of the full Getting Your Nerd On. Of course, we have Zack Latour and Kyla Dipetro.
Woo! What up, players? What's going on?
Nothing much, Zach. What have you guys been up to?
Well, I wanted to let you guys know I'm not wearing pants in that picture.
Yeah. Awesome. Got it.
He's wearing a shirt and tie in this picture, and we all wondered if he was actually wearing pants or not because the majority of us said that we wouldn't wear pants.
Is that an 8-bit? Is that an 8-bit tie you're wearing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, Kyla, how have you been? What have you been up to?
I have been playing a buttload of my 3DS. That's what I've been doing.
I still haven't received a friend code, by the way. That's just not on.
Actually, that's not true because I sent you mine personally, and you didn't add me. How long did it take you to add me on the PS network? How long? That was the worst laugh ever.
I thought he was glitching out.
I kind of was.
That's the laugh of a clown that's raping someone.
I am not going to say that I am, and I'm not going to say that I'm not. So yes, I think I need that friend code post haste. Anyway, introducing the man himself. Of course, he puts the rose in rose-coloured reviews and rose-coloured Let's Play because he apparently likes roses because he's a bit gay. No, not really. His name is Mr. Travis Goss.
Hey, how's it going? And it's funny you should mention about roses. My fiance's birthday was this past Wednesday. She was at January 1st. Awesome. And I sent her a dozen yellow roses. So it's funny.
Oh.
That's cute, but I think yellow roses mean friendship.
I know, but yellow's her favorite color, and she loves roses, so that put two and two together.
You should have sent her brown roses. I wonder what that would mean.
I think that means you're dead.
You're dead to me.
Damn you, woman. Thank you for making my whole life a nightmare.
Damn you, foul woman.
And also, the man making his return to the show, a gentleman like no other. He is a scholar and a bit of a prostitute as well at the same time, is Mr. Shaun. I think I probably am going to get herpes after this next episode. Walker.
Happy New Year, bitches.
Happy New Year. What have you been up to, apart from not playing Batman?
Well, you know, it's coming. It's coming.
I don't want to see it coming. I don't want it really coming slowly, because if it does, then we're all going to get it. It's going to be like a volcano exploding. We also got the gentleman who is co-anchor of I Got Gameplay, Mr. 90s Kid himself, and the gentleman who might be actually introducing his own new show onto the Retro Unlims network. He is Mr. Miguel. I am so amazing that it's unreal when I have problems with Google Hangouts and I want to kill everyone in Google. Leon.
Well, let's not be too hasty with that announcement yet. Let's wait for the end of the show when we talk about the plugs and whatnot. Hopefully, I'll get it right this time. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Other than that, yeah, I wasn't here last week. Not due to sickness. It's just UFC 168 was on, and I had to go see it. I had to see Silva break his leg in half.
Ah, awesome. How did he break his leg? I'm just wondering about this. Did he do a Sid Vicious and ended up, like, fumbling?
No. What happened was he went for an inside leg kick, which is where you kick the inside of your opponent's leg. It makes it harder for them to walk around. And his opponent shin checked him. It's where you use the meaty part of your shin to block. And I guess he kicked him so hard and hit broadside that his ankle literally snapped in half. Like his foot wrapped around the other guy's shin.
It was awful.
I thought it was the shin itself that kind of snapped, because that looked like rubber in slow motion.
It might have been the shin. It might have been the thin part of the shin then, because I mean Silva's got spindly legs as is.
Yeah, but it looks like that might be the end of his career. Ugh, damn.
He says he's going to be back. Honestly, if I were him, I'd just stop. You know, I think
I would.
Is it a Kevin Nash type, I'll be back?
Well, I mean, in wrestling, you can afford to snap your leg in half and come back. I mean, in MMA, it's not that easy. You really can't come back from an injury like that.
It just, I don't know, it's fucking really weird. It's one of those things, I suppose. So, moving on from that quickly, let's make sure that we've got everyone introduced. Everyone's been introduced, haven't they? I'm going mad. So now, ladies and gentlemen, segueing from that, let's go into something that we hold dear on I Got Gameplay. That is the news. Zack Latour, what's in the news this week?
I got a couple things for you. The first one I want to talk about is, I think this is actually really funny, is there's a company, I'm looking for them right now, and they are making hookahs and vaporizers out of old GameCubes. So you can either buy these.
That is cool.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing is, like, the actual like hookah hose part connects into where the controller plugs in. So you can have like 4 of them, and you can, I guess, buy them in different colors, and you can also buy some that are wireless and some that are wired. So that's pretty sweet, I think. It's called the Vape Cube.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've also got another member of Retro Unlims with us today as well, Mr. John Latimer. John, how's it going?
All right, Michael, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're awesome. Your sound is so crystal clear. Zach was talking about the fact that they've got there's a new story out about a company that they're using old GameCubes so people can smoke out of them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
Smoke out of them.
I don't know.
I'm okay with that, honestly. I mean, you've got all these extra GameCubes floating around in the ether. You might as well put them to good use. I mean,
exactly. Recycle them.
I remember back Yeah, I remember back when the GameCube was starting to be phased out. I mean, even a year before the Wii came out, when you could get those for free by getting an EB Edge card. Seemingly, I mean, they were just all over the place. People abandoned them, and it's great that somebody's actually putting these things to good use. And by the way, let me just say this: I don't know much about hookahs, but I'm guessing they're probably not the sturdiest things, considering a lot of them are probably made out of like glass or sensitive material.
Yeah, they're really not. They can knock over so easily.
The thing about it is, though, as well, think about it this way: these things you can't usually use them to smoke with your friends, from what I've seen. So this is actually kind of cool.
And I'm gonna say this. I was saying, they're made out of sensitive materials. One made out of a GameCube, that thing could take a bullet and won't break. Try one of those things with a car a mile down the road, and that thing will still work.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of reminds me of. Have you guys ever seen pictures of that?
One second, Travis. What's the issue?
I freaking love the GameCube. I mean, I love it. Oh my gosh! And I don't know. Maybe it's just the cynical part of me that says that this is pretty stupid. But I mean, it's to each your own. I mean, I see recycling. And four people can connect to it to get high at the same time. Wonderful. I mean, that's great. But no, don't do it to a GameCube. Come on.
Yeah, I think this is an example of Travis's childhood just being taken over.
Does it hurt right in the childhood, Travis?
Yeah, just right in the childhood.
I will say this. I saw an e-cig with a NES controller shelling that I was like, holy crap, I want this. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Speaking of right in the childhood, we have a member of Retro Unlim here with us tonight. A gentleman who was on a live streamcast yesterday night with myself and John, and also some amazing people, including Stuart Ashens and Larry Bundy Jr. He is a man of a few words, well, apart from the ones that he likes to swear about, the console snob.
All right, guys, how you doing?
Hello, Scott.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Wicked.
We can hear you nicely. We're actually talking about the fact that there's these Nintendo GameCubes circling around. They've been reconditioned so people can actually use them to smoke with their friends.
What? So they're making GameCubes into bongs, basically?
Pretty much.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, they're probably the most airtight, so I can see why they do that. That's kind of fucking classy, if you ask me.
If I was a GameCube, I'd want to be someone's bong.
Well, that's all the GameCube is good for, isn't it?
Oh man, that's hurt.
No, I'm kidding. I don't own a GameCube officially. I've got a Wii, so I can play GameCube games. And yeah, there is quite a few good titles, but I rather enjoy them while I'm stoned. So if I make my GameCube into a bong, that'd be even better.
I just advise you not to be smoking your GameCube playing Eternal Darkness.
It's like a Cypress Hill advert, isn't it?
So, Miguel, you were going to say something about something else that was being recommissioned?
Yeah, I was thinking this kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures of it. They're that dental company who bought up a bunch of old Atari Jaguar shells and started using them as like for dental equipment. I think they've used them for like a shelling for some type of oral camera kit that dentists use. I've seen photos of them.
Yeah, X-ray, I
online.
think. Yeah, I think it's an X-ray machine. And that's now you're talking my sort of console. Now that is depressing because the Atari Jaguar, in my opinion, is one of the best consoles of all time.
Really?
No, of course not. I'm taking a piss.
The depressing part of that console
you
was
learned to fly.
Yeah, that's exactly what's the depressing part. Where did you learn to fly?
Or where did you learn to get high?
Yeah, exactly. That's the only woman that would ever tell her to shut up. And she probably wouldn't. So, Zach, what else you got for us?
Okay, I have,
Zach. Yeah,
Zach to me.
I was going to say, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Zach, what happened?
His balls went right back in.
Yeah, it's true, they did. So, my portion of the news is how Disney bought, So So,
Use your words, Kyla.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So Star Wars comics are now leaving Dark Horse and going to Marvel Comics. I don't know why that was so hard to say.
Well, as another news post has happened, a lot of Marvel gaming franchises have been pulled digitally, so it's probably Disney reining in their IPs, I guess.
Yeah, well, Disney owns Marvel Comics now, so they're just obviously gonna put it out to something they own instead of, I guess, putting it out to a different company.
Well, everybody knew that was going to be the case as soon as they bought up the Lucas property. That was the first thing people thought was this is going to be the end of the Dark Horse franchise, because I mean, obviously, if you had the ability to keep all of your stuff in house, why wouldn't you? So it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. It was bound to happen eventually. I'm surprised that it lasted this long before they pulled the plug on that.
Well, licenses, they gotta wait.
It's not changing until 2015.
So yeah, it's just waiting to the lease to run dry, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So and yeah, in terms of the Marvel stuff being pulled from a lot of the other digital stores, I really don't know what to say about that, except maybe they're strong-arming the online distributors for better deals. Maybe they're just thinking like, let's pull them now, and if they want them back, we can renegotiate a bigger deal. I mean, that's something that's the scummy side of Disney that most people think about, and I could. It sucks, but I could see them doing that. I mean, the only other option is probably they're making their own distribution deal, and honestly, I don't know how that would be more beneficiary than to be having it on the PlayStation Store and the Xbox Live Marketplace.
Well, this has happened before when it comes to digital distribution. You see it on Steam all the time. One game will be on there one day, and it won't be there for about a week, and it will just mysteriously come back. So I'm guessing it's probably just some sort of legal issue they got to iron out before they're, I guess, will roll them more back out onto the digital platforms.
Yeah, it's when it comes to these sort of things as well, you hit the nail on the head. This is also one of the reasons why you can't trust digital. If there's a physical copy of a game out and there's a digital copy, I'm always going to go for the physical, because the fact is you never know when that game's gonna let go or something's going to expire on it, that you can't actually play it or have any access to it.
That is not 100% true, Mike, because I do own a few games that have been on Xbox Live and they're no longer on Xbox Live, but I can still download them from my previous downloads.
Oh,
I still play it.
Yeah, I've got Outrun on Xbox 360, which has since been pulled because they lost the license for Ferrari.
For what?
For the Ferrari cars.
Ferrari. It's Scottish for Ferrari. Right, John.
Ferrari, okay.
Ferrari. Yes. Sorry.
I will be translating tonight if it gets a bit too Scottish.
Well, what I was gonna say is, you think this is gonna raise the prices of the Marvel versus Capcom games now that you can't get them digital? That the physical copies are going to go up in retro value now?
Because
hell yeah. Yeah.
Normally the Dreamcast, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, especially in England, is around a £40 game, so about $60 to you guys. So when the digital versions did come out, the price went down exponentially. I think the one that really stuck in my head was Radiant Silvergun, which has nothing to do with Marvel, but when that was released on Xbox Live, that got halved in price from the Saturn, and that's when I finally bought a copy. Because before then, I was going to touch it with a barge pole. It was like £200. It's like, no way. Yeah.
I remember the same thing happened when Eco, I think, was re-released in that Eco Shadow of the Colossus collection. I remember before that, a copy of Eco would run you like a solid like $60, even before them, because of how rare it is. But once they put out that double pack collection where it was Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, that game pretty much dropped in value.
So in a good way, especially for us collectors, that these re-releases do come in handy. Yes, for convenience, and also if you want to get the real McCoy, it's cheaper.
I think it's funny. Like some of the more notable rare titles have seen re-releases through digital. I mean, either that or remakes on other platforms. Like in the case of games like Guitar Man, you got stuff like Rez. Obviously, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Eco, a lot of games that used to be like, the holy grails of modern games have kind of seen the light of day again, and I wouldn't say they're not worth as much as they used to be, but when you could just download that game when one person can download that game for free, even if you have the physical copy of it, it still kind of takes the luster out of it.
Well, yeah, and with me, with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 especially, I own it on the PS2, I own it on the original Xbox, the Dreamcast, on the Xbox 360, so I'm kind of a fanboy when it comes to that game.
All I have to say is the people that collect retro, that just like want to hoard millions of copies of a certain game, just trying to get rich with reselling, I love it when this kind of stuff happens. I just laugh at them, you know. I'm like, oh, you got 3 copies of this game. Oh, the value just dropped. Oh, lucky you.
It's like those are for the idiots that spend like $1,000 per bloody cartridge and end up trying to basically force it down people's throats.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The retro gamer market is not solid. A game that any time could be re-released or remade. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to hold on to this game, it's going to be $200 in a year's time, that's not that might not be the case. It might get re-released on a platform, and it's fucking 20 quid again.
Yeah, no, I agree with you totally. So let's move on for that to another little bit of news. Kyla, have you got anything else for us?
I don't, but I think Zach has one more.
I have one last bit of news for you guys.
Go for it.
There's this game. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Bravely Default. It's a 3DS game coming out next year.
Yeah.
It's a Square game.
I've heard of that, yeah.
And apparently, if you guys saw our newest pickup video, Kyla got Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, I love that game.
The funny thing is, in the very beginning of the game, they stressed that she's 18 years old.
Yeah.
She just had her birthday, and it's funny that they have an achievement where you can look up her skirt and see her underwear and stuff. Anyway, so this game, Bravely Default, it takes place is a game that uses 15-year-old girls, and unfortunately we're using 2 systems. We're Skyping on a phone and we're using a computer, so I can't send you guys the link, but it's on Kotaku. Anyway, so you look at the Japanese picture, and it's a girl, and she's really not wearing much clothes. She has these small underwear and this thing tied around her body for a bra type thing, and so she's supposed to be 15. So anyway, I guess what's coming to it. What's up?
Post it on Facebook.
I will find this.
Okay.
Let me find this.
Yeah,
Don't be
I'll post
that
it.
later.
I'll send it to you right now. Here it is.
Well, the thing is as well is quite a lot of Japanese games are like that. They always have these questionably young girls, and they're scantily clad, and it's kind of awkward. Like Death Smiles.
Yeah.
Death Smiles on the 360 is one of my favourite games of all time. You look at the front cover, I think there is, the girls that are on the game are the ages between 12 and I think 20, but it's still kind of, you feel a little bit wrong when you start thinking too much into it,
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
Keep in mind the age consent limit in Japan is a lot lower than it is here in the States, and the leeway that they give in terms of formalities and things like that of what you can and can't do is a lot different. I mean, I remember I remember when Doug Walker was doing his retrospective on the Sailor Moon series, he made a mention about how he had put Sailor Moon on the list of top 10 sexiest cartoon characters, not realizing that in the show she's technically 12 years old.
Yeah.
So he actually went over the rules, this is what the laws are over in Japan, and why this is what you can and can't do and stuff like that, and yeah, that you can get away with a lot more in terms of age over there than you can here.
And there's also a ton of Sailor Moon porn, but let's move on from there.
Well, I think whoever you are, you've actually watched the Sailor Moon porn. Okay.
Well,
but the point, what I wanted to say about this was, they showed the English or the European version, and she has a lot more clothes on, and then they showed another character, and she has a lot more clothes on, and they also raised the ages from 15 to 18. So I'm guessing it's going to be like that for the PAL release and the North American release, or the American release.
It's an anime thing. They always have overly sexualized characters, male and female, and this is one of those things where you either like it or you fucking hate it. It's one of the, that's it.
It's like tentacle porn. You either like it or you hate it.
Well, let me just ask this. You mentioned before Lollipop Chainsaw. Is this new game going to be made by Suda51?
No, this is a Square game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's already out, man.
Yeah, I'm a big Suda51 supporter.
I love Suda51.
Yeah. And I've always just not to go off on a quick tangent, but I've always thought I like Suda51's games. I think the gameplay though could use a lot more work in a lot of them. I think probably the most fleshed out game he's ever made was Shadows, and I can't really say that's the most deep gameplay game that he's ever made. Honestly, I think the perfect developer for him to do a game with would probably be Itagaki. I would love to see those two team up, because say what you want about Itagaki and his indulgence that he puts in his games, the man knows how to make a solid game engine. And
did Suda51 Studio collaborate with Hideo Kojima's studio to make a Metal Gear Revengeance?
I don't know. I need to check that out then, because I have no idea. I've never heard of Suda51 and Kojima teaming up. That would be a fever dream.
I thought it was Ninja Theory that they teamed up.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I think it was Ninja Theory. Yeah, I got them mixed up. But yeah, Suda51 has always been about Star Wars substance. You know,
yeah.
The very first No More Heroes, it was just, the control-wise was just so fucking clunky, but you played it because the game was just insane.
It was hilarious.
The second game could win award for the second game could win award for most improved sequel because that felt right. And then they re-released the first one on the PS3, and that's when I finally sat down and completed it. Because on the Wii, I lost interest playing the Wii version, but the PS3 version I really did dig. I really did enjoy it.
I just remember being in the living room playing the game, looking like I'm bashing one off, and having my
recharging the sword.
Yeah, my ex-mother-in-law just walk into the room and just look at me, and I'm just like, it's not what you think. I'm playing a game, and she's like spitting at me and calling me names. I was like, no, it's the game.
Because they just recently released Killer is Dead as well. I really want to get hold of that. I ain't played it yet.
It's gone down in price a lot at the moment, so I want to actually grab myself a copy. Maybe I can get one pre-owned. So going on from that, I might as well bring out this next story. It's been reported that apparently there's a survey that went down stating that Xbox One owners watch less porn than PS4 owners.
And the relevance is what?
It's relevant because apparently a lot of people, because they haven't got any games from Sony as of yet, decide that they want to use their PS4 to watch a ton of porn.
Brings the whole new meaning to Xbox Turn On.
Exactly. Now, apparently as well, the same survey has actually stated that PS4 owners like to watch lesbian porn, whereas One owners like to watch anal porn.
There's NSA money going to good use.
So that shows the reason why Xbox One's owners are a bunch of arseholes. So there we go.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't really care to see anal in 720. Call me a snob. Call me a snob, but I like my 1080 porn.
You know, it's funny that you said 1080 because I thought you were going to say you wanted to see less quality.
But the same company that actually deals with the app for these systems are actually looking at releasing the app on the Wii U. So Nintendo won't be getting that away from them, but
well, let me just go out on a limb here and say I'm guessing the reason most people don't use their Xbox One for porn is fear of the Kinect watching what they're doing.
No. The list actually says
that's one of the news articles said that.
Yeah.
It said that maybe people just feel weird because there's a fucking camera looking at you beating your dick.
The list actually said there's 35% watch it on the Xbox One, whereas a whopping 65% watch it on the PS4. So there's not that much of a margin there.
A lot of PS4 users have been using the PS4 to live stream sex on
Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah.
Whoa, what? I'm getting a PS4 then.
Oh no, we heard about that. Twitch have been banning people on their accounts for doing that because a guy basically raped his unconscious wife on live stream or something like that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about this that no one's brought up? These people are beating off in their living rooms. I mean, it's they're not even, in their own room or anything. They're just jerking it with a television and the PS3 or PS4 and Xbox One on it.
and then they wipe their cummy hand on the settee, then pick up the controller again. And then they pick up the controller again. It's like, yeah.
Exactly.
You know what? That's going to get me thinking now, because if I go around Zach's house and he's asking me to play his Xbox, I'm going to sit there with a hand wipe, just going, washing the pan out.
Fucking controller.
Yeah.
You know what'd be funny? If like you come into my place and I have like it's like a toilet paper like holder like screwed to the side of the television, like where the TV is. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I don't watch porn in here or anything.
Yeah. Well, mate, I remember I had a cold, and I've got like a toilet roll with like loads of tissue in it. My mate came in there and he's just looking at me going, we know what you've been up to. I was like, I had a cold, leave me alone.
I was blowing the snot out of my dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. We went on last week, someone having porn in their 3DS, to now somebody, like, people streaming porn on their next-gen systems. Whatever happens, there's going to be porn somewhere.
You know what, though? This makes me not really want to buy used controllers.
Never know what it's...
The fact about so much porn, there's a book, I can't remember which one it is, and I don't know if I brought this up before, but there's a Chuck Palahniuk novel where he talks about the early adopters of all things like televisions and like different types of technology. All the early adopters are people who are obsessed with porno, and like when they all buy it and they use it before everybody else, and then so many people buy it, the price goes down, and then everyone else is able to buy it. So it's like he says pretty much like, you owe them a thank you that this goes down in price and it's cheap enough for you to buy.
Yeah, I mean the whole entire evolution of the internet is basically because of the adult film industry.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Videos, a lot of geo streaming technologies, a lot of heightened resolutions, a lot of what websites can do nowadays. A lot of that stuff started through porn industries because they wanted to improve their product. So, they saw this internet thing was starting to really catch on, and they basically latched onto it, and they caused that evolution back in the mid to late 90s. And you can thank porn for all that cool stuff on the internet.
Well, think about it this way as well. Who single-handedly saved HD DVDs when Blu-ray was taking over? The porn industry. The porn industry still does HD DVDs.
Really?
Yeah,
they have a VHS tape still.
Yeah, and they have a huge market share.
Wow, I had no idea. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, they were like, when everyone else was giving up on it, they're like, well, we're not going to...
If they sell one HD DVD, then they got the whole market share in one go.
Yeah, it's just the way that they're refusing to sort of step away from that and go over to Blu-ray. They want to...
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's that they... Okay, so like when I was in California and I would go to a porn store... just to buy novelty shit. But anyway, there would be like walls of there'd be walls of like VHS tapes and then DVDs, and I'm guessing that the reason they're still doing HD DVD is because a bunch of people probably still have it, and so they're like, whatever, we can get their money, and they'll still buy the shit.
I actually still see an HD DVD attachment for the 360 now and then at like flea markets and stuff like that, and I've thought about picking it up. Just to say that I have it, just to be like, I've got an HD DVD Xbox 360 connection. I don't have anything I can play on it, but I got it. It's right up there with the PS2 hard drive. It's like, I got it, can't use it for anything, but I have it.
It's like a modern day Betamax.
Oh, Betamax.
That would be so hilarious.
That's pre my time, that's before my time.
Oh, sorry, I'm older.
That would be so funny.
I own a HD DVD, and I think I've only got 2 movies. I got a 300, but everyone fucking had that when that first came out. I can't remember the other one now. I think it might be like I think it was The Matrix or something. Whatever. But yeah, I bought one when they finally got discontinued, and they dropped down to like £20, and I was like, oh, I'll pick that up. And then they were like 50p for the HD DVDs. I was like, yeah, get in, I'll buy a couple. But yeah, I've not seen them out in the wild since then. I've seen the unit, but I've not seen the HD DVDs around at all. They've just fallen off the face of the earth.
They really made a bad... Microsoft really screwed over HD DVD by not including it as a as standard for the 360s. I think they really could have pushed that product forward if that had been a standard.
Yeah, that was a fault in there. Go on.
Keep in mind, I'm sorry, I was going to say, the 360 came out even before HD DVDs even existed. So even then they couldn't have implemented that technology. How they would wait a couple years, yeah, I would have seen that. Exactly. And that could have
honestly, no, Travis, I believe the tech came out. I think they were still in development of the tech, so yeah, maybe the mass market versions came out after the 360 was out, but they could have implemented the technology and been the first, kind of in the same way how PS2 was one of the first DVD players that came out, if I'm not mistaken.
PS2
one of the reasons that's why
existed in the mid-90s.
Yeah, it's the sole reason why DVDs got so popular is because one of the reasons why was the PS2, especially in Japan. They were still using VHSs and they were adamant they weren't going to change. So when the PS2 came out with a built-in DVD player, that's when DVDs finally become a medium. It's in the same way with the PS3 with the Blu-ray player. You know, when the Blu-rays come out, they were fucking expensive. The players were even more expensive, and the PS3 was the first affordable, back in the day, of Blu-ray players. So it made sense to drive the format with some sort of media-based console.
Well, going on from that one now, let's go to Mr. Xander Skullion himself. Xander.
Hold on. Before we do that, let's introduce the newest addition to tonight's episode, Braeden.
I was going to introduce him as soon as he got his headset.
Oh, okay.
I got my headset.
Oh, you got it on. Braeden, yes. Welcome back to the show. I know it's kind of weird because we've been going, we've kind of been stopping and starting kind of recently with the shows, and because on the last network we were on, we were doing 9 o'clock starts.
Jumping from network to network, time slots changing.
Well, this is the final time, I promise.
Yes, okay. I heard this is a great topic. You guys talk about gaming memories up in here. So.
Yeah, and before we're doing that, we're talking about gaming news. And just to enlighten you a little bit, we've covered porn on the Xbox One and PS4, because apparently that's all they're good for at the moment. We've covered the fact that a lot of porn outlets stock HD DVDs, and also that Japanese people like minors when it comes to looking at sexual adults.
I don't know. I also heard, speaking of porn, that a child or whatever got like a Nintendo 3DS or something recently, and it was filled with porn. I don't know if that was a story any of you guys heard.
Yeah, that was covered.
That was going on in the news sites this week too. What's with all these porn-filled consoles all of a sudden?
The ironic thing is, there's a masturbation makes you go blind, and so does the 3DS. So perfect match if you ask me.
And to be fair, though, I don't think porn is something that really works well when it comes to 3D. I don't know about you. It honestly just kind of scares me in a way.
The gigantic boob. Oh.
No. It's more the ending. You know, I'm kind of sitting there all of a sudden. I feel like I got to turn my head away from the monitor. Like, oh God, I got it.
He looked me in the eye.
All right.
He looked me in the eye.
He doesn't want to be shooting out of the screen there, any three-dimensional perverse shit.
Shoot now, ask questions later.
So, Xander, what have you got for us in the news before we derail this even more?
I don't really have a whole lot of news. I got some personal news. I bought a Wii U last weekend.
Yay!
So I got a Wii U now. I'm pretty excited with that. I've been playing Super Mario 3D World and just having a blast. It's fun.
Yeah,
looks like it's the console.
I'm hoping to pick one out tomorrow, actually.
That's worth getting at this point over the other two. Like, it seems like it's the one that's going to have the good library of games throughout this next year. And it's cheaper, too. Yeah, the Wii U, compared to, like, the other two. Like, it's got a lot of decent first-party stuff coming out, yeah. What's coming for the PS4 or Xbox One next year?
If I get a Wii U tomorrow, it'll be the second time I've owned one. Because I bought one on launch day one. I played it, especially Zombie U, I played that an absolute ton. Loved that game. But then I looked at the launch window, and the time Monster Hunter came out in March, and I love Monster Hunter, love the series. But when I played that, it's just basically a HD rehash of the Wii version. I backed out. I was so pissed off, and that's when I sold the console. But now I've gone back to it thinking, you know what? I didn't give the Wii U enough of a time to really blossom. And at the moment, there's still not many games that really appeal to me that much. But I'm going to get one just because I'm a fucking console collector. I don't call myself a console snob for nothing.
Just to let you know, guys, we've got another little story here. Apparently, a hacker group by the name of Dirt brings down Xbox Live. On Twitter, Dirt posted a tweet about bringing down Live, and people on various gaming forums are already facing issues in being able to sign into Xbox Live and its services over Reddit. People are also reporting issues in comments. According to the site, there seems to be a surge of reports relating to Xbox Live being down and facing issues. So yeah.
Isn't this the same group that took down League of Legends and
Yep.
Dota, if I'm not mistaken?
There is no reason why they should be doing this.
It's just a bunch of,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's a bunch of script kiddies is what it is. It's a bunch of like guys that just found out how to code in BASIC or C++, and they found out how to put a DDoS out, so they're just kind of dicking around with people's livelihoods. And I mean, they're gonna figure out that this types of actions are gonna get them thrown into jail, and that's when they're really gonna understand why what they did was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's such a Disney way of saying it. Why don't we say there's just no hope, no fucking losers, they've got no fucking pride in their own lives, they've got no girlfriends, and all they want to do is ruin everyone's fun. Fuck those little dweebs. Fuck them up, their silly little asses.
And that's why they're going to become bummer bitches.
There you go, that's how you say it.
Oh, Lord. So,
how enlightening humanity can suck.
Yeah. So, Travis, you got anything for us?
Well, we're going to go right back to when we were talking about how some of the games were being delisted from PSN, XBLA from Marvel, because for whatever reason. It looks like I got a small list of games that are going to be delisted here recently, or real soon, I should say. One of them is Deadpool, which is a game I wanted to play, but you can
Love
still
that
get
game.
the heard the game is really good.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man Friend or Foe, that's going to be delisted, as is Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Edge of Time, X-Men The Official Game, X-Men Destiny, and X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh well, we won't be missing those games.
Yeah. No, I heard Origins Wolverine was a good game, wasn't it?
Because it ripped off God of War.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, also, I wanted the Deadpool game. I thought it was funny, but was it actually good?
It was good. There were a couple of clunky mechanics, yes, but all in all, I really did enjoy the game. And yes, of course, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I've heard it's not bad, but it's not. It's one of those games that if it wasn't for the Deadpool license behind it, this would be just a glorified budget title. I mean,
I don't know.
The mechanics work, but they don't wow.
They are some bits of it are rough, but I'm biased anyway because I'm a big Deadpool fan. So, but I loved the humor. I liked the gameplay for the most part, and I was satisfied with the end product. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
But keep in mind, though, in terms of Deadpool or any comic book character that gets turned into a video game, you have to kind of be careful that how you make the translation from the comic book to a video game, because you have to make sure you get everything down in terms of its characteristics.
Oh, they got it down with the game.
Yeah,
they
that's
got
what
it
I'm
down
saying.
with the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have to be very careful in doing so. Now, I haven't played the game, but man, do I want to. But for it to be delisted because this whole thing with Marvel and everything, because they did that with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which thankfully I got that downloaded just in time before it was delisted. But yeah, that's just a small list of the games that have been taken down. So whether it's going to be returning real soon, it's hard to say. But for instance, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, I am not sure how well that game did.
Shattered Dimensions was badass. I will say that.
I loved Spider-Man. What was it called? Not just Shattered Dimensions. The one before that.
Friend or Foe?
No, not Friend or Foe. Before that.
Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows. That was it. I loved the story in that. I thought the story was awesome. Gameplay was kind of shitty, but the story was awesome.
Was it enough to offset the horrible gameplay?
I might want to pop
gameplay.
I might pop the crowd here and say that I don't care for Spider-Man.
Well, the colorway is being used, of course.
I think the last Spider-Man game I played was Spider-Man. What was the cel-shaded one? Was that Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I played for the GameCube. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I think the last one I played was on the PS2, and I think that was the movie one.
Yeah, it was.
Which was actually pretty good.
I played.
Yeah, that one was quite good, but I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man, so...
I'm not convinced that it
the
was
last
good,
one
much
played was
as it
on
was
the
just fun
Atari.
to jump around.
I remember that one. I still have it.
That one's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yo, is the Hulk Ultimate Destruction, is that one going to get taken off?
If it's by
Is that
Marvel,
a-
I'm assuming it will.
Is
Well,
that on?
Xbox
Was that on the
Fanboy's back, by the way, guys. And he's just basically said that he's never played a Spider-Man game and haven't seen the last two films.
Really?
I think the console snob and you, Xbox Fanboy, will get along very well.
I'm not a fanboy of the Xbox. But yeah, I don't care for Spider-Man, so I agree with what he said.
I'm the same. I've watched the last two Spider-Man, and I've never played a Spider-Man game in my life.
Well, the only reason why I would want to watch the last couple of Spider-Man movies was for Bruce Campbell. That's only because he's playing in a cameo role.
Yeah, he did like loads of cameos in all three movies. He was playing like a different person each time. But you know, going on from that, the segue on from Spider-Man and the Marvel universe, we are I Got Gameplay and also on Retro Unlim and Fanboys Numbers. We like to support indie makers, and we're also a lot of us are a big fan of Zelda games. Well, we did. We helped out a fellow friend of ours, Davis Ray Sickman Jr., who produced the new Jumpman Forever. But there's also a new Kickstarter that's currently out as well. It's basically a 2D-like Zelda adventure called Medora, and it's on Kickstarter now. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I will post a link on the I Got Gameplay channel. Basically, the whole tote between, I'm looking at the article, the release between A Link Between Worlds and fans of the classic 2D Zelda style were given cause to celebrate with a new 2D Zelda-esque action-adventure game called Medora. Indie studio Epic Minds is looking to give them another promising to explore beautiful and live-out Legend Medora. It's a love letter to the classic 2D RPG adventures like The Legend of Zelda and also the Secret of Mana series, with its own personal twists. Epic Minds thinks there is an itch that just can be satisfied by anything but traditional slash and puzzle gameplay, so they decided to make their own contender for the genre. Medora is currently seeking $60,000 in funds for the endeavour on Kickstarter. So this team is trying to complete Medora ideally within the next 10 months, and they're currently planning on releasing a PC version. If their stretch goal of $80,000 is met, they will basically be putting a version of this on the Ouya. So the article's posted on the RGG channel. So what do you guys think of this?
Meh. Yeah, I really don't get why people always have to make these open love letters to certain games back in the day. If you want to play a certain game, go out and play it, in my personal opinion.
It's because nostalgia is in.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I collect retro games for... Yes, at first it was nostalgia, but now I've discovered there's a lot of good games that I never got round to. That's what I collect for. So when it comes to people saying, oh, I collect for nostalgia, that's why I didn't have an argument with Davis, but I did say to him, I said, look, how are you going to make your game appeal to people outside of nostalgia-holics? Are you going to try and get people to, try out Jumpman for the sake of it having like addictive gameplay, or not just a target to the Atari 2600 crowd?
Well, that's the thing. What I said is that nostalgia is now, the whole nostalgia thing has become the new mainstream thing. People love to go back, to look back and wax nostalgically about stuff from their past. I don't think nostalgia nowadays is really targeting true nostalgia buffs, because like you said, the true nostalgia buffs, we could just go out and actually find these games ourselves. We can find the old games and actually play them. We don't need to play newfangled love letters to these styles.
And most of the older games are freely available on Xbox Live, on the Wii Store and all this stuff. So when you come to these sort of Kickstarters, it always rubs me up the wrong way, while I think, well, actually, why don't you try and evolve that type of formula instead of trying to devolve to it?
I think the thing behind it is as well, though, because it's quiche, it's because it's, kitsch, because it's in, because it's new. It's the big thing at the moment. People tend to do their own versions, and it's kind of their way of saying, hey, you know what? Let's see what I can do with this. Maybe because I've got an accessible platform like Kickstarter, I can make something like that, and there's a market in there for it.
It's something that's always going to be around. I mean, just look at music. You got like the new wave of British heavy metal that came out back in the early '80s. That was influenced by early like '60s Sabbath and like punk music.
There's a difference between being influenced and trying to cash in on nostalgia, because I agree with that. Yeah, you can be influenced by somebody and still tailor your style to modern eras. What these people are doing is they're basically going, hey, this game plays like it did back in the old days, so nostalgia, buy it. I think a lot of them do make it out of love, but I'm starting to notice with the whole nostalgia kick going mainstream, I think you're going to start seeing more and more homages and love letters in quotes to old games, and I think they're just going to be cash-ins.
Well, I'm a big Suda fan, and my homage to Suda is I owe boobs. That's literally what I do. So that's my influence from Suda right there. Let's go on to one little last bit of news. Phil Spencer is interested in bringing some Xbox exclusives back to the Xbox One. Microsoft's Phil Spencer seems to be interested in bringing some of the classics back to the Xbox One. The 10 franchises that they need to bring back are including Battletoads, Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Crimson Strike, Crackdown, Black and White, Master Assault Banjo-Kazooie, and Viva Pinata. They're looking at bringing loads of different classic titles.
Yeah, because those, especially Viva Pinata, it was a bit of a guilty pleasure to me. I loved the first Viva Pinata for some reason, and it makes sense to try and make new games on those franchises because we haven't seen them for 2 years.
But it's a good idea, and I think it also plays on the nostalgia, as what Miguel was alluding to before,
I don't think this is nostalgia. All those franchises you talked about are all first-party Microsoft titles. I think this is just a matter of they realized we really don't have many first-party games now, especially with Halo kind of dying down and not being the big game anymore. We got to dip back into our library and capitalize on a lot of these things because they have a lot of.
He said Battletoads.
Battletoads is technically a Microsoft game because they own Rare. They technically own the license.
Oh, fuck. Who the fuck made Battletoads back in the day? Was that Rare?
Yeah, it was Rare.
Oh, okay.
It was developed by Rare and published by Trademark.
Yeah.
Trade West.
Trade West, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so they technically have the license. I mean, they're like I said, I don't think it's so much nostalgia as, we got to beat Sony to the punch. Because I'll give Sony credit. They have a lot of solid franchises under their first-party banner that they can really dip into. That really did, especially back in the PS3 era, did sell that console.
Right, so Xbox is pretty much playing on people's nostalgia to get into their pockets.
I guess you can say that. I think it's just them trying to kind of load up their guns. I don't think it's nostalgia because they mentioned...
Loading up your guns.
They mentioned Blue Dragon. I mean, how nostalgic is Blue Dragon?
Or Viva Pinata, for that matter. Yeah. I don't think any of those titles are like a decade old yet.
No,
don't you have to feel like at least 15 years on the market before you're considered a bit of nostalgia?
Yeah, a few of those games is worth... Go on.
I was going to say, Battletoads, Banjo-Kazooie, and Conker, yeah, you can consider those nostalgia, but Viva Pinata and all those other ones, that's not nostalgia. You need to fill up you need to load up on first-party titles so you don't have to pay your third-party licensing fees.
Right.
So,
I'd still like to see another Blue Dragon, though. Blue Dragon is
I love
bomb.
Blue Dragon. Yeah. It's one of the most underrated RPGs on the 360.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the Xbox fanboy stated that he would love to see remakes of Blades of Steel and GoldenEye. Even though I had corrected him, GoldenEye was already remade.
Yeah.
Activision, they own the Bond license.
No, and there's also a mod for Source Engine that it's basically the multiplayer mode of GoldenEye, but in modern PC form. and that's awesome. I play it quite a bit. I've got Gold Knight Source. That's it. It's awesome.
I don't even want to see them make another Conquer because I don't want them to fuck it up like they did in Banjo-Kazooie. Like, I love Conquer. I beat it. I fucking loved it. Beat it many times. I even beat the Xbox one. I loved it. I loved all of it. I don't want to see them ruin that shit.
But didn't they censor the Xbox One, though?
They did.
The surprising thing is there's one part when Conquer, he needs to, have, the password to get into a room, and the word is fellatio. And it spells it out, like, in the N64 one, but in the Xbox one, I think he still says it, but it's like, it uses,
at hashtag.
Yeah, like the at hashtag, that shit to kind of, fellatio and like that. But it was weirdly enough that it was censored more on the Xbox. But still, it was awesome.
You know what I'd like to see them come back with? Another version of Fusion Frenzy.
No, I have not played that game ever.
I actually own a copy of that.
I do. I own both of them. I picked them up a couple of days ago, I think, for like a £1 or £1.50 respectively. Yeah.
Or Grad by the Ghoulies.
Yeah, that game was alright. I got turned off real quick in that game.
No, the games I really miss, I don't think they were exclusive to the Xbox, were the Kingdoms of Fire games.
Kingdom Under Fire?
I think it was. It was basically like a death metal version of Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I picked those games up earlier, a couple of days ago again, and I picked them up and started playing them again. I was like, wow, why haven't they brought more of these games out, So that kind of bummed me out for a second, but...
If we're going to go nostalgic and we're going to talk about a Microsoft or a Rare franchise that I want to see them bring back, I got to go with Jet Force Gemini. I want to see a modern-day version of that game. Any of you guys play that game?
Yeah, but would you want to see a modern-day version of that game or just a re-release of the original?
No, not a re-release of the original, because the original, as much as I love it, it's very much of its time. I think it was very heady for 1999, but if you tried to re-release that game now, I think there would be a lot of people that it might seem so nostalgic that it becomes dated. I'd like to see a modern day update of that game, not an HD re-release.
You want to know a modern day update that was complete shit? Was Perfect Dark Zero? Wasn't that the name of it? That game was.
I actually like that game.
Did you? I hated the controls in that game. Like they were so shit.
It was one of the first games I got, and I played it quite a bit, and I didn't have any objections to it. Actually, I think the thing that really I had no interest for was the single-player game, the multiplayer, especially playing it even on Xbox Live, just playing it with bots like I would on the N64. I did get quite a bit of enjoyment to it. It hasn't aged that well, mind you, but that was the original launch title for an Xbox, so you never. Go on.
No, go ahead. I was going to say for a launch title, it's fine. I had no problems with it, but go ahead, finish.
Well, the thing is, as well, is that back then the only multiplayer shooter you had was that game. So, because Call of Duty 2, the multiplayer system was absolutely borked. So you can play it for, I think it was like 6 months until after the console was released. So the only sort of first-person shooter on Xbox Live you had at the time was Perfect Dark Zero, so everyone was playing it.
Well, on a somber note, before we go on to today's theme, ladies and gents, a dad named his daughter after a character in the Mass Effect series. And her first name was always going to be Talia Zora. And his wife fell in love with the name after playing Mass Effect. So what do you guys think? Do you think that's nice? Or do you
that
think
is a giant fail. They should have called her Miranda. Come on, think of the booty.
So for the dad that basically named his kid after Mass Effect.
Oh, nah, I got it. I got a brilliant one. He called her daughter after a character in Mass Effect because he knows later in life she's going to be a massive failure.
So that means that he called her Mass Effect 3?
Yeah, disappointing.
Step away from the dusk.
So there you go, ladies and gents. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. So with today's theme, of course, which is gaming memories. So we're going to basically be talking about stuff that motivated us, what got us started on our own YouTube channels, because everybody here is from their own little YouTube channel, of course, and also get to know a little bit about John and the console snob. So we'll be right back, ladies and gents, right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, and we are on today's theme, which is gaming memories. I hope I didn't scare you a little bit with that whole break in between. I decided to put out a song there which gives everyone a little bit of memory of what LucasArts left behind.
I'll stick with the footage of Star Wars 1313. Thank you very much.
No, let the song go in your brain. Let it dwell there. You're going to be sitting in bed going like, I'm going solo, I'm going solo, I'm going
I'm just
solo.
more perplexed. That's a
I will be
dancing
going.
game, right?
I will be going solo, but not with the bloody music.
That is a Star Wars dancing game, right?
And next 2 hours, I'll be on Fatmas Prime.
I'm just more perplexed that exists.
It's impossible!
Go on, Braeden.
I said I'm just more perplexed that a Star Wars dancing game exists. That doesn't really go hand in hand.
Because it was Star Wars Connect, and they never showed this portion of the game on the adverts. All they showed was like, you get to be a Jedi.
That would be fucking riot.
Yeah, it was like, you get to be a Jedi. And I remember watching a couple of people do Let's Plays on this, and the first person who did a Let's Play, I was watching it, and as soon as it's like, what's this? He pressed the game, got into it. It's like, it's a dancing game. It's a fucking Star Wars dancing game. What the fuck? And it's literally just got all the Jedis doing their dances and stuff. They've got YMCA, which they changed it to Why Don't You Come and Join the Dark Side Today.
Oh my
God.
Oh my god!
That's the Imperial's fight music right there.
Exactly. They also had Genie in a Bottle. They changed it to Princess in a Battle. There was.
Fucking hell.
I don't know.
I think
god. Where's the Orlando one?
I'd rather. You know what? I think I'd rather watch Phantom Menace on a loop than play this game.
Now,
I don't know. Worse than
What's
Phantom
better?
Menace.
I believe
more the Christmas special. Like, if you really had to choose, which one would you put yourself through? Would you want to dance like a Jedi or an Ewok, or do you want to watch their actual Christmas special?
Can I?
Hey,
It's just a more painful thing to do.
Listen,
I didn't even think Jedi's could dance.
Listen, the Christmas special has B. Arthur in it, so that's something.
In case anybody doesn't know, Lobot is the DJ in that game. That guy with the thing on his head, the guy who's the DJ, his name's Lobot.
This is just wrong. So there you go. I think probably in his final days, George Lucas was probably smoking crack and decided to make this game after one of his binges. So let's go on from that, segue on from Star Wars and crack binges, and go on to gaming memories. Now, let's talk about basically what got you guys started in gaming, and also what got you guys started on YouTube. And because, Scott, you're one of the guys who's a very big presence on YouTube, let's start with you.
A 310 subscriber big presence, yeah. I started YouTube probably, I think, in 2009, and I didn't actually do anything what I'm doing right now. I started doing Warcraft videos in the same vein as WoW Hobbs, if anyone's watched him. So I was doing like tanking videos, stuff like that, because I've really been tanking in that game. So I started doing Warcraft videos, and then sort of spurned on to little mini-series I made called Forced Enjoyment, which was in the same sort of vein as the Rooster Teeth Forced Enjoyment series that they had, where they just play like terrible games to completion. And yeah, I really pissed myself off playing a lot of really bad games. Then I started doing reviews and trying to be like Classic Game Room. And then I got fed up with that channel, made this new channel, the Console Snob, and I've been doing this for 2 years now. And yeah, this channel, I'm finally happy with my content after 2 years, because if you look from the start of my channel, which is youtube.com/ScrumpGamingHD, by the way, cheap plug, all the way to what I do now, it's a complete 180 change to it. I've been very schizophrenic, and I am talking right now very schizophrenic, so shut up. I don't know where I'm going with this one.
Get off the stage. Hey, we've already got that. Burhan, if you please.
We don't actually have that on this one today.
I just put it on the board. What happened?
Did you put it on the board?
Yeah.
Did you put it as IGG Boo, or did you just put it as Boo?
Yes. I put it as IGG dash Boo.
And obviously you haven't uploaded it probably because it's not there.
I'll say again, basically my YouTube channel just consists of me doing pickup videos, games I've been playing lately, gameplays, and hoping to bring back reviewing. So, I have a very big plethora of different content.
So here we go, Miguel. I'll do this one for you, okay?
Yay!
That's got a present. No, that's a good thing,
See, I told you it was on there.
Where? I can't see it. It's probably.
I'm looking at it right now. I just hit it.
Okay. Well, let's with your presence on YouTube, Scott, how do you find that your channel's working for you now? Do you enjoy what you do because of the people and the comments that they make?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. When it comes to me, the views and the subscribers they're numbers to me. I'd rather be connecting with people on a more of a personal level than, jerking off to, I've got hundreds of subscribers, fap. It doesn't bother me at all.
Okay. Let's move on from Scott Bailey then to John. So what got you started in YouTube?
Well, I'll be honest, Michael, and this is not why I do it now, but when I first started doing it, I thought I could make money out of it. But I soon realised that was not going to happen, and then kind of found a community of people like on Retro Unlims, for example. It just liked doing retro content for the fun of it and the nostalgia, and I kind of got into that side of things. But I don't know, when I first started YouTube, I thought I could maybe make a living out of it, but that was never going to happen. So, and the other thing as well is I was going to make FIFA videos, that FIFA series, but I soon get bored of that. So I prefer doing the retro games and stuff now.
Awesome. So how's like the fan content? Do you get like a lot of positive feedback from your fans in terms of what you produce? Yeah.
In fact, I've not seen one negative comment so far. Now, whether that's because no burger watches it, I don't know. But but no, I do have a few people that watch it. The same kind of guys that comment all the time, and it's always very positive. So it's quite good because I'm not really the most confident of people. So it only gives me more confidence when people put nice comments on. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's a support structure as well of your friends and everybody that sort of works with you, isn't it? In a sense, yeah. Because like with everybody on YouTube, the people who view your videos, the people who comment, it goes bigger and bigger, and it gets stronger and stronger in terms of the content you create. So let's move on to the next person then, Zack and Kyla, because you guys are fairly new, aren't you? In a sense.
Yeah, we're actually very new. We started pretty much of August of last year.
No, it was July.
Well, at the tail end of July, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had been watching a lot of YouTube videos. My favorite person at the time was Alpha Omega Sin. I loved watching him. I thought he was really, really funny. I don't really watch him as much anymore. Nothing against him. I don't know. But my favorite guy of all time, though, and will always be the Angry Video Game Nerd. He is still my favorite. But anyway, we were watching these, and especially there was this one guy. I don't know if anyone remembers him. TB46666667.
Oh, Tom, yeah.
Tom, yeah. And he was really huge, like, as an influence to me, because when I'd watch his stuff, and then, Kyla and I would go out and go kind of game hunting, we would find a lot of cool stuff. And one day I was like, Kyla, let's just do this. Like, let's make a video, let's make a channel, and let's call it Getting Nerd On. And I was like, and let's start with pickup things. And
well, actually, to be honest, it didn't start with pickups. It started with the top 10 coolest things in Zack's collection.
Yeah, not to sound pompous, but yeah, it did. That is how it started. Yeah. I've since kind of got rid of those videos because they really don't. I don't know, they're just kind of boring. And
the lighting is god
awful. The lighting is ass. We've learned a lot since then. Like with lighting, we have a better camera. We've been better on camera and all kinds of stuff. And we have intro now. We're with Retro Unlim these days. So a lot of things have changed, and it's just awesome. It's so crazy to think that in like half of a year we're on I Got Gameplay, and we're with Retro Unlim, and we have almost 200 subs. It's crazy.
Yeah, pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you guys. And I have to admit, you guys have gone from sort of strength to strength. From watching your channel evolve is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, what about the next one? Should we go to Mr. Xander Skullion? Xander, your story is actually a bit of a colourful one, isn't it? Because the way that you started, you kind of jumped off from another sort of positive kind of gaming franchise. Let's talk about your influences.
Well, I've been watching YouTube for like years. I've always really enjoyed watching YouTube videos. I started with The Nerd and Pete Door's Game Room, and after a while, and this is really funny, how I started a YouTube channel was I started a podcast. And we'll get to that when the plugs, the Excess Gaming. And how I started a podcast, was I was listening to All Gen Gamers.
Yeah.
And I listened to the 100th episode, and that was such a fun episode. Like, it was all live. It was like a 5-hour-long podcast. And it felt more like a party than, just listening to, people talk about the news and gaming. It felt like you were actually there. And I was like, man, I want to start doing this. So I started doing a podcast, and then after I started doing the podcast, I was like, well, I should start doing videos. I was like, I should make some videos so my audience can connect a face to the podcast. And my videos started out as updates for the podcast, like, hey guys, got a new episode coming up, and And, like, I didn't have any sort of video editing skills hardly at all. I used my freaking cell phone for my first early videos. I mean, if you watch, I left my old videos up because I wanted people to be able to watch it and kind of see where I was coming from. So if they want to start their own channel, they're not, like, looking at mine and feeling discouraged and being like, well, I don't have any editing skills. I don't have any. I was like, look where I started. You know, I had a huge beard. I was bald. I had a fancy mustache. I looked like a freaking Unabomber. I mean, really, it's crazy.
Midwest, right?
Say what?
You said you are from the Midwest, right?
No, I'm from the East Coast.
Oh, that's right. Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
But no, it's all good. But yeah, so I started doing that, and one of my biggest influences, though, with YouTube, and what made me want to make YouTube videos was, of course, Happy Console Gamer. And, you know, watching Johnny Millennium's videos about nostalgia and the positive energy that he brought, I mean, I would be in a pissed-off mood. I would be upset about something, and I'd watch his videos, and just the way him and Robman interact with each other, and it would, like, gush about the Dreamcast, it made me feel better, and it made me go out and buy a Dreamcast. So
yeah,
I always told Johnny and Robman, I'm like, you guys should be car salesmen because they did such a good job on making me want to go out and buy a Dreamcast, and it's become one of my favorite systems of all time.
Johnny made me finally hand over the money to get a Neo Geo because I was indecisive for years, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get one, and I don't regret getting one at all.
Yeah, so it's definitely his videos, and you can definitely see an influence in my videos because, I mean, that's what made me start doing YouTube was that nostalgia, that, you know, gaming memories. That's one of my staples on my show. But that's kind of how it started with YouTube, and it's been a good year and a half.
That's awesome, and you know, the funny thing about it as well, a lot of the stuff that I've done in gaming, a lot of what's happened with my channel and I got gameplay and stuff is intertwined with nearly everybody here. So I'll talk about that in a little bit as we move on to the next gentleman.
Hang on. Sorry.
No worries.
I was going to throw in a quick about what influenced me.
No, go for it.
Now, it wasn't to do with gaming at all. I was influenced by Brad Jones, the cinema snob, and I loved him reviewing exploitation stuff, people that no one watched or no one cared to. So that's what really got me interested in, like, you know what, I could do, because I like quirky games, I like obscure stuff every now and then, so, especially Japanese, so it was like, oh, okay, I could try and do my own take on, be my own sort of style of cinema snob. So at first I had some sort of arrogant persona. I did a video about a year ago, and it was for a hentai porn game called Yukiri Panic. It was a hentai porn game called Yukiri Panic Escalation, and I was probably, I was very cinema snob in the review, but that sort of bust open the door to what I do now, where I just basically just be myself and say what I want to say and play whatever game I want to play, and so yeah, that was a big breakthrough moment for me and my channel.
What's up, Internet Wrestling community? This is Anthony Mango of SmarkOutMoment.com, a wrestling website dedicated to the smart marks like you and I. We break down and review every pay-per-view with predictions and spoilers, and you can catch our weekly podcast on YouTube for some smack talk. There's no rules here, and we show no mercy. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment, where we analyze all the angles, shoot first, and kill kayfabe. That's www.smarkoutmoment.com. Why mark out when you can smark out?
Yeah, it's amazing how, you'll talk to people that are wanting to start their own YouTube channel, and it's very discouraging, especially with the YouTube community, what it is now. Like, there's so many people with channels that some people are like, I don't know what to do, and I always tell people just to do it, because your first couple of videos, you're trying to find a groove, and you're trying to find exactly what you're going for, and your first videos are going to suck. I mean, it's like picking up the guitar. When you first pick up the guitar, you're not going to start shredding like Van Halen. You're going to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and feel like a badass. That's just how it goes. So I mean, play the open chords to Smoke on the Water. But I mean, after a while, you start to progress, and that's a lot how YouTube is. It's like the more you make videos, the more you start getting familiar, the more you get open with the community and start, getting a hold of people, you start to actually find what you want to do, and it all starts coming together at that point.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. It's once you kind of find your own voice, it makes things a lot easier for you, and pulling some little bits and pieces from somebody else, from other people that have influenced you, kind of brings your character together. It's like when I watch Xander's channel, I see some influence from Happy Console Gamer in there, but he brings his own sort of spice to it, so to speak, and he has his own voice. And
I'm not Canadian.
Yeah, but you don't have like your own bald little sidekick or anything like that,
Yeah.
or like tons of games surrounding you. You talk about your own experiences in your own lives, and that's what really works. And I think Johnny, Rob, they have their own thing, and they're probably influenced by other gamers as well. And I remember when Johnny first basically introduced Happy Console Gamer, he did it because he saw a gap where everyone was doing the whole angry video game thing. And,
I did it briefly as well, and it didn't work out.
And with that, like Johnny was like, no one's being positive about games anymore, and he just started talking about stories, experiences, and it brought stuff like this to light. And now people, the whole way that YouTube gamers are doing things now are different. Everyone has their own character, their own persona, but you have a guy like Ashens, for instance, who will, when he reviews something, he has his own quirkiness to him. Or if you look at someone, anyone who's not the irate gamer, so to speak, they have their own character, their own ideas, and how they want to actually put something together. And 9 times out of 10, there's always someone out there you can watch, like GameSack. I think me and Xander were talking about them recently. These two guys are so quirky, but they're really bland at the same time. But it's their shtick. It works so well for them, and they take the mick out of it all the time.
Yeah,
well, that's what I like about the GameSack. If they just bring back the classic early 90s. Sorry.
No, I was going to say was at first I didn't really like GameSack when I first watched them because the acting was so bad. I'm like, I was like, this is so weird, but after I couldn't stop watching it, and once I started watching more and more episodes, and I'm like, okay, these guys, the production value is stellar, and they really know their stuff, and they just grow on you.
Yeah, and it's kind of like John Gamester in a sense as well. He doesn't have that whole sort of charisma kind of delivery side of things, but he has a ton of knowledge.
Yeah, he's very deadpan in his delivery.
Yeah, but he has a ton of knowledge in his own style, and he works because he knows what he's talking about, in a sense. And it's fun to see stuff like that. And with guys, you don't have to be the most charismatic person out there. You can, as long as you can put out a kind of product that you're happy with, people will follow and they'll migrate over to it. So let's move over to our next person then. Braeden Mayhew, aka Spood Beast. Why did you start your channel? What influenced you?
Yes. We're just specifically talking the channels we're using now, or a whole history of using YouTube.
Let's go with your history.
Just even before Spood Beast, because my history of YouTube actually spawns before that channel. Which, with my brother and cousins, we made this little channel called the Canadian Kids 19 channel, and basically it was the worst thing ever. It was 12. I was 12 at the time, and they were all a lot younger than me, 2-4 years younger. And it was what happens when you let these kids have a webcam and you're trying to make horrible stop-motion animations and all this sort of stuff. Playing, holding, stuffed animals or whatever in front of the webcam, thinking you're doing something original or creative. Because when you're a kid, it's, usually a lot better. But, I can't really go back and watch a lot of that stuff now. It's ooh, man, that's just some terrible stuff. And eventually it came to a point where I kind of wanted to do my own thing. They weren't taking it as seriously as I was. They were taking the not-so-serious bullcrap kid stuff seriously. I know. And then when I was 14, I basically opened the channel that Burhan is referring to, which is my Spood Beast channel, though that came about because I was doing this presentation in front of the class. Me and my buddy had a project to do where we had to pitch an idea, and we did this turbo rocket wheelchair for old people. It was pitch a commercial in front of the class. So
you're straight trolling people then. Really.
Oh yeah. Like it was our 8th grade year. We really just kind of phoned it in. And I meant to say the thing gives you an amazing speed boost, and I fucked it up in front of the class and said an amazing spood beast, and everyone near died laughing. So I went and made this channel, and I had to keep the name because it was just too great. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. And I tried to do a lot of the same ridiculous things I was doing when I was a kid twice. I fucking hated it. I deleted them. And then I got super caught up in the hype for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which was coming out for the Wii at the time, and it was like this big ordeal. Everybody loved Melee. Everybody was super hyped for a third Smash Bros. Game. And I just kind of started talking about different updates to the site. It was the day King DDD, I think, was first announced to join the roster. He's from Kirby. And I just missed the boat. I think if I would have started 3 weeks earlier, Sonic was just announced, and that was the far bigger deal at the time. But I started then, and within a day or two, it got pretty good recognition. Like, people said, you're pretty informative, even though you're only 14. And I thought, oh, that's a big confidence booster. Let me keep going. And
you were only 14 when Brawl came out?
I was only 14 when Brawl came out.
God, I was.
And I just kept at it and just kept talking about helping to build the hype train. I was one of the channels that kind of did that at the time, where it was like, nobody really did 100% hype videos for a certain game, at least to that extent or dedication. So everybody who was as excited as I was kind of connecting with me, and it just kind of built up from there. And by the time Brawl came out, I had to kind of branch out into different stuff. I talked about E3 for that year, different stuff Nintendo and PlayStation were doing throughout the summer. And you skip ahead all these years later, nearly 7 years later. It's unbelievable. I've built up to the point where it's like over 1K, and I'm doing pretty decently for myself. And still kind of doing the same old thing. I got a 4th Smash Brothers game to talk about, and I'm just kind of taking what I did when I was 14 and doing it a lot better and just kind of rehashing it now that I'm 20. But, it's just been a pretty good road. And I built a decent little thing for myself. Burhan, I'm pretty sure you've seen a good couple of my videos, so you can vouch for that. It's done. Yeah. I've been doing all right.
He's actually one of my favorite channels, believe it or not, when he's actually posting. But you do your thing, you do it well, and every time I see a video on yours, I can't help but either trying to promote it or listen to you. And actually, the whole I Got Gameplay podcast actually spawned from you. But again, we'll talk about that in a little bit once we make our rounds here and go to our next member here, Travis Goss. Travis, what got you started in gaming, and what got you started with a YouTube channel?
We'll start with gaming. I'd have to say my late brother, God rest his soul, he got me into it. I remember when I was about 2 years old, Mom and Dad bought an Atari from a friend of theirs who was selling their Atari system, and I woke up from a nap, and they put me in my high chair, and they were busting out some Keystone Capers action. And I was just amazed by it. It's like, I want to play. And I was crying and begging and all that stuff. Finally, they passed the control over to me, and of course it didn't do too well, but that's what got me started. And I'd say as for my YouTube channel, I've had tons and tons of influences from so many other personalities with their channels. Of course, Happy Console Gamer, that was a big influence, as was the Cinema Snob and the Nostalgia Critic, and of course, I got to say AVGN, and also the K-Wings. I'm a big fan of the K-Wings. Luke and Amber, who are based out of Boston. Those are some really sweet people. And I think what really made me decide to go ahead and start doing my own Let's Play channel, as well as my regular channel, Rose Colored Reviews. I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Game Grumps. And if anybody knows Game Grumps, you know how they play their games. They play them, and they don't take it very seriously. They joke around about stuff that's totally irrelevant to the game, and they talk about stuff that has nothing to do with what they're doing. They're really funny guys,
I have a gripe with the Game Grumps guys because my channel originally was called Grumpy Gaming HD, so every video I posted had a bloody Games Grumps search right underneath it, like, So yeah, that's my little funny story. Carry on, Mike.
But, I mean, and that's just like, I thought, well, I just got to do this. This is something I want to do. And of course, when you're doing a Let's Play by yourself, if anybody who has listened to my incoherent rantings on some of those games, it is very hard to do, to play a game by yourself, recording it, and then also talking at the same time. These some of these guys, they make it look easy when it's not. It is so difficult because while you're playing the game, you're also commentating on just stuff that you're experiencing in the game or just something about it, and it's so difficult. But at the same time, it's still a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of fun because the one thing I do when I play these games on my Let's Play channel is I'm sharing an experience with everybody on the internet, and that's the biggest takeaway I get from it, is I'm sharing some experiences and also passing along my memories of these games that I play, and I think that's what the biggest influence from Johnny Millennium is, when he's sharing all these memories about his favorite video games or systems and all that stuff. I think that plays a big role in how I present myself when I'm playing video games on the internet.
Yeah, I was going to mention, when you were talking about talking solo during Let's Plays, I have to admit the first 2 episodes of Excess Gaming Podcast was just me, and that was so depressing, hosting a gaming podcast by myself.
We would have done it with you.
Oh God, it was so bad. It was so bad. You guys can listen.
I don't know, you haven't seen our first episode.
We've all been there. I remember my first video that I ever did for my YouTube channel was a Let's Play, and I was talking like this for most of it for some weird reason.
When I first started, I didn't even talk on mine.
My first video I was solo running Shadow Fang Keep in Warcraft, and yeah, I'm talking my way through it, and I'm just waffling like an asshole. I'm like, what am I talking about? Shut up! I delete that video in the end because it's just so fucking unwatchable.
I don't. I always keep the start videos because you like to see the jump point where you went from being one type of person to another. So yeah, let's go on to our next person here, of course, a gentleman who's joined us a while ago and has kind of waited patiently, and that is Jeff Croop. So Jeff.
Hello, folks.
What got you into doing your YouTube channel?
Well, what got me into YouTube? What got me into YouTube originally was anime, because I was watching anime music videos a lot. And then what got me into starting in my own channel was probably from you guys and watching other people's channels and stuff, mostly.
Oh, you're too kind.
Well, that's awesome, Jeff. That is awesome. And this is the fun thing as well. I can go back to like the start of IGG, let you guys basically in on something. But before I do that, of course, I want to give a shout out to Xbox Fanboy here. He said he finally played and finished Brothers this week, and what an awesome game it was, and that he doesn't actually check out other people's Let's Plays videos because it ruined the experience of gaming them. So he comes from the other side of the audience, because the majority actually now check out these YouTube channels, see what everybody's been up to, and they kind of get in on it as well at the same time. But with myself, I was doing a podcast called Smart Out Moment. It's a wrestling podcast with Tony Mango. And I was also venturing onto a wrestling forum with a friend of mine, which was Braeden Mayhew. And I brought him onto that podcast, and Tony was always telling me about this gaming thing. He goes, I've given this gaming channel, YouTube channel called I Got Gameplay to somebody. They don't use it. You know, they say they're going to use it, they don't use it. And he then pitched me an idea about doing something called fanboysanonymous.com. And wanted to try and have something for a launch. So I said, look, just give me the I Got Gameplay name, and we'll put together our own podcast. And the two original guys came on with us, Nick and Shaun. Shout out to Nick. He's gone on to bigger and better things, of course, with his own joystick jerks. And Shaun Mitchell's gone on and he's doing his own thing as well on Fanboys. But they worked with us. Our first show, if I remember, was on the game Heavy Rain. Then we actually did a 3-parter on Suda 51.
Immediately after that, it was like right after. Those are our first 4 episodes that we did. And I can't believe it. It's like already a year ago already. It's kind of mesmerizing how fast time flies.
Yeah.
I just subscribed to the
crazy
podcast on iTunes, so I just basically bombed all the download. I just downloaded every single episode before coming on here, so I'm going to definitely keep up with it now. I didn't realise it was on iTunes. I thought it was on here.
It was actually quite kind of my whole sort of marketing thing, because what I tend to do with the project, I kind of embraced it head on. And at the time, everybody had their own things going on, and Braeden was concentrating on his YouTube channel and had like loads of his personal stuff going on as well, and on his own situation. The boys kind of left, and I was kind of scrambling. I was at the same point where I was like, Xander, I'm sitting there trying to find other hosts. So I got on with a couple of guys for Mega Powers Radio. Braeden Mayhew, who comes on the show very generally as well, and Mike Payton, who is a former host on the show. He does his own projects now as well. And the show took on a life of its own, and then eventually hosts were like coming and going like no one's business. So I put out an advert for some hosts, which was Zack and Kyla. They came on the show and haven't left ever since, even though I tried to force them out. They just stay there. They're like part of the furniture now. But they've been amazing. Miguel, of course, who's been a huge fixture. Yes. In the sense, he's been my little right-hand man in terms of this and other projects that I've been doing as well. And the funny thing is, when I started my YouTube channel, Nerd Genius, I was looking at other channels and stuff, and I introduced myself to sort of Scott here on Facebook, joined up with the console Snob, checking out his forums and stuff like that and watching his stuff. And I found that he worked for some guys called Retro Unlim, and I was like, maybe I should give this a shot. Went to Retro Unlim, pitched them an idea, and this was in the middle while I was doing my Movie File series, which is coming back, guys, so be patient on that one. When I started that, and when I started that series, it kind of took on a life of its own as soon as it migrated over to Retro Unlim, because when I started it, I was like 35 movies in, talking about these movies, doing reviews on them, and they weren't getting hits, they were getting like 7 or 8 hits, and then as soon as they started on Retro Unlim, people were migrating over through there, and I was getting like 100 hits per video, apart from a really bad one I did with the Justice League Flashpoint movie, where it was just poorly edited. I was just so tired, I poorly edited it. But that took off, and I'm now 141 subscribers in. I'm not as much as, of course, of Scott here and Braeden and probably the majority here, but it's growing and growing. With the web series, it's Job for Hire, and I think the reason why IGG and why Genius have grown so much, and I would say my biggest influences are probably guys like Johnny Millennium, the Happy Console Gamer, the Angry Video Game Nerd, the Nostalgia Critic, and everybody here in this podcast.
Thank you.
Well, everybody here is linked to me in some form or fashion. If I didn't put the advert out, I would have never met Zack and Kyla and shown how amazing their stuff is. I wouldn't have met Miguel if it wasn't for Fanboys Anonymous and Smart Out Moments. Scott, again, wasn't for Facebook and YouTube. I wouldn't have met him. Jeff, the same thing goes. He was a long-term fan. Xander was a special guest on the show and then ended up becoming like sort of a fixture for the show. He kind of helped me get like guys like Robman and people like that onto I Got Gameplay when we had that terrific Robman episode. Travis was a fan of the show first before he started doing his own things. And of course, Braeden, me and you, we go way back, and it's kind of the fun things where it's not just a gaming show anymore, it's become an experience. This is what life has been. And I have to give a thank to everybody on I Got Gameplay. I've got to give a big thank you to all the gamers out there and our audience as well. And a huge thanks to Stephen and Retro Unlim for allowing me to take the like I Got Gameplay forward into its own network, so to speak, with the Retro Unlim network. For what most people don't know is the network's kind of run by me here. You know, it's and we're looking at new content and stuff all the time. I'm so happy to be a part of something like Retro Unlim and being, you know, associated with someone like Scott. Every time I go on a video cast with Scott, he never ceases to amaze me because he always cracks me up every time I'm on there. You know, I've got to give a shout out to other guys like Dave Wade, for instance, who's very politically minded in his own sense, but also very, very talented and very funny as well in his own right. John as well. You know, I give a huge shout out to like everybody else in Retro Unlim, including a spectacular person by the name of Halfbit, Daniel O'Neill. Daniel, I know we're supposed to have you on the show this week. I don't know what happened. Probably like time probably got the best of you on this one. We'll hope to bring you on the show at some point. You know, he's an amazing guy. He's got, for those of you guys, if you love the Angry Video Game Nerd, if you love like guys like Nostalgia Critic and stuff, if you like those kind of script-written shows, Half-Bit, Retrospective Perspective, takes those shows and eclipses them. I'm such a fan of that show. It's literally as soon as I got my hands on Retrospective Perspective, I tried to find more. I tried to find episodes that I haven't even watched yet. So I keep bothering Stephen to see those shows. And then also, guys, if you want to check out the content from all the creators here, from everybody, including like Travis, Xander, Getting a Nerd on, Scott, of course, everybody on this channel, check them out on retrounlim.com, www.retrounlim.com. You know, these, I can't say more positive enough things on here. Everybody else, including Miguel, Braeden, also Travis, also fanboysanonymous.com as well, where they do everything geek. They're, again, you know, with these channels, with these places, with every single situation I managed to get myself into, I've met a great bunch of people, so many talented gamers out there. Make sure, guys, you know, check out Scott's channel, like, comment, subscribe. And now, while we'll do that, let me ask you guys a question. I'm going to bring it out to the entire lot of you here. What was the one game that made you fall in love with gaming?
Well, so nobody wants to hear my story about how I got into video gaming, even though I don't have a YouTube channel? Screw you guys.
Sorry, apologies, Miguel. Go for it.
No, that's fine. I don't have a show. That's okay. I don't mind.
You get back in the room with your redheaded stepchild.
Yeah. I don't have a show. I don't have a show to promote yet. We'll get to that at the end of the podcast.
We do. Sorry, I was going on my whole tangent talking about how much I love you guys, but go for it.
Yeah. All right. I got into. I always played games. I mean, and my parents got me into playing the NES when I was too young to even remember. But I would say I really started getting big into it probably around the mid 2000s, specifically 2003, when I moved from Jersey to Florida. I remember this is when I started collecting video game magazines. Because up until that point, I had like a handful here and there. You know, if it had like, you know, tips on how to beat a video game, I would pick it up. But I remember one of the local stores next to me had a backlog of old GamePro magazines from like several months prior up to that point. So I bought a bunch of those, and you know, I just moved to the area. I didn't know what to really do with my time, so a lot of my time was spent reading a bunch of these old magazines that I picked up, and you know, it had all the different notes and information and all the different articles, and it kind of built from there little by little. And honestly, and I hate to say this because, you know, it's no longer around, but what really got me into video gaming was Tech TV and G4 when they had that big merger. That was pretty much what drove my entire final 2 years of high school, was watching G4, you know, for shows like Filter, X-Play.
Monkeys.
I'm talking about the more original ones, like Judgment Day, things like that, G4T.com. I didn't say it was a bad show. I just said by the time I got out.
Balls, mate.
Yeah, by the time I got out of high school, that show hadn't even started yet. But That actually was one of the reasons why I ended up getting that's actually one of the reasons why I actually got into game design. After I got out of high school, I signed up for a degree in game design and development. I'd rather not get into that, but
Did someone tie you in their basement, Miguel?
Actually, it's long story short, there's a lot of controversy with the school I signed up with, and there might be a situation where the degree I have is worth as much as the paper it's printed on. I'd really rather not go into that. But after I got out of that, obviously I had a bit of a lull, and honestly, when you spend 3 years designing games, you kind of lose a lot of your spark for it. That was around the time where I started actually getting more into professional wrestling and more of that scene, which Burhan can kind of sympathize with me on that. It actually wasn't until I met you guys and Fanboys Anonymous that I actually started slowly but surely getting back into game design. You know, I guess being out of the development scene for so long, you know, it kind of got me back into it. And now I'm doing my blog that I've got going on right now, and a lot of the stuff here with Burhan. But you know, I never really fell out of it, and I love soaking in information. Like any little bit of information, whether it be like just some useless you know, bit of backstory, or, you know, a top 10 list I'm a sucker for that. You know, I just love just holding all this information inside my head. So I've just always been attracted to video games because of that. So that's kind of where I stand in terms of, you know, what got me into the business.
Awesome, and it's a great thing to see as well. We inspire each other, and that's I think the biggest thing here is sometimes when you fall out of love. Like at the moment, I've fallen out of love with pro wrestling. I can't stand to watch it at the moment, and I'm just kind of taking a hiatus from Smart Out Moment in order to sort of find what I've lost in a sense, and try and work, you know, bring myself back to watching that again. And I'm going to be doing like a series of retrospectives on certain matches and stuff that I liked and things that meant the most to me in terms of what wrestling was. But in terms of gaming, I've always been a gamer. I've always been a fan of gaming, and again, I'll pose that same question to the rest of you. We'll start with Zack and Kyla here. What made you fall in love with gaming in the first place?
Well, when I was a kid, I was born in 1986, so this can all be put into perspective here. When I was a kid, my cousin was like 8 years older than me, and anyway, he got an NES, so he gave us his Atari, and I remember my mom used to take us to this place called Toy Works, and at that point, like Atari games were like clearance out, like walls of Atari games were just like, I don't know how much they were, but they weren't very expensive. And my mom, I remember she took us there, and she was like, you can have any game you want. You know, it's probably because Nintendo games were like $50, and these were probably like $5 or less or whatever. Yeah. And my sister got this game called Kangaroo. And you were a kangaroo, and you had boxing gloves, and you went up like these stairs, like these ladders until like the different levels, and you were boxing the people to get like your baby back. And I remember like me and my sisters loved that game. We played it all the fucking time. And like we loved it. My mom would probably take us, I don't know, once a month or twice a month to go pick out a game because they were so cheap, and then we probably beat them so quickly because a lot of them weren't really that long. But I remember one time when my dad went to a tag sale and came home with a Nintendo, with an NES, and it was like $10, and it came with like 45 games. It was ridiculous. It came with this huge tub of games, and I remember like RC Pro-Am was in there, and like just playing these was just like blew my mind that these even like existed. Like it was just so awesome, and that really is what solidified me as like to be a gamer. I loved it. I loved everything. You know, I loved all the games that I was playing.
Yeah, that's actually kind of mirrors how I got into gaming as well, because that actually all started with my dad and a Nintendo Entertainment System. Scott, what about you?
Well, I started gaming when I was about 4 years old. My dad brought me a Spectrum ZX, which probably none of you in this room know what I'm talking about, apart from maybe John and Mike.
No, I know what those are. I've seen action videos.
It's a really old school 8-bit computer, and I remember playing Bomb Jack, and that was probably one of my earliest childhood memories. But what got me into gaming hardcore. I had a Master System and I had a Mega Drive, but I think probably what got me in the game in hardcore, I knew when I was in deep when Street Fighter 2 came out on the SNES, and I think from then on in I was hooked into it. But I think another big moment is when I got my PlayStation, my original PlayStation, and I think that's what really solidified my passion for gaming.
Yeah, it's a big thing as well when it comes to stuff like that. You always need to sort of find your feet, and I think the PlayStation sort of found it for most people. So Kyla, sorry, I did avoid you. It's not. I think it's because you've been too quiet. That's probably why.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Usually you're very loud and you're yelling at Zach for some weird reason.
I know. I worked all day today and I have to work early tomorrow.
Kyla
so
just got home at like 7:20 or 7:25. So yeah, like right before the show started.
Right. I'm so sorry.
So what got you into gaming?
Well, I think I may have told this story maybe a handful of times, but I had an older brother who's a serious gamer, and I'm sure he still is. I think he's somewhere in Florida these days. But he was a serious gamer, when I was a kid, and I was born in '88. And so the first system I remember him having was the PlayStation 1, and that just blew my mind and my older sister's mind. And we used to sit in his room and watch him play till in the summertime, we'd watch him play games till 2 o'clock in the morning. And so that happened, and then for some reason I just fell out of gaming, and I'd rather play outdoors and crap. So probably after high school I started getting back into video gaming for the nostalgia factor. Because he handed down a PS2 to us a couple of years, I want to say it was early high school when he gave it to us for Christmas. There's just his old PS2, and me and my sister would play it all the time, and I guess that's essentially how I got into gaming. And then later in life, things like G4 and X-Play came around, and it kind of got me back into it a little bit, where I was like, okay, I want to watch this show because I really like video games. I don't know, the way I feel about people who play video games, where no matter how infrequent or frequently you play it, once you're a gamer, you're always a gamer. You will never lose your love for video games.
That is true.
Testament to that, my mum never played video games until, say, 2 years ago when I got her a DS. And she's nearly 80, and I just upgraded her to a 2DS, and she plays it all the damn time. So, yeah, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah. I don't think you will ever lose your... I don't know. I never lost my love for it. Pushing 25 here, and I'm such a baby.
Yeah, 88. I was born in 84, so there you go.
82.
86.
85.
79.
Yeah, I'm
93.
I'm
93.
93? What's 93?
You might have been downstairs.
right here.
Oh, you're free. Get out of the room. Come back. Come back in 10
93
years.
babies have AIDS. No one likes them.
Come back in 10 years when you got some real nostalgia under your belt.
No, there's
She's
something
trying to tell you when your
different
balls are
between
dropped.
people.
We can wait.
People who were born in the 90s, there's just something totally different about them. Who's that, Travis? Did you say 79?
That's where I was born.
Yeah, so then you feel that way about people in the 80s. They're like, you guys don't know anything.
Everyone who was born in the 80s, here's an eye-opener, your parents did blow.
My dad always used to tell me that he did blow. It was kind of weird. I'll tell you this one story, actually. I was smoking weed in my brother's room. I was just going through my divorce. My dad was sitting there with me, and I was like, do you mind if I roll this up? And my dad was like, no, it's fine. So I'm sitting there smoking weed. He started taking a puff. And then he goes to me, you know what would be good? If I had some crack right now.
Wow, that's good parody.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, I just looked at him and went,
It's not Breaking Bad, it's more like Breaking Dad.
Yeah, I just looked at him, and he actually did look like Walter White. It's kind of sweet. He was like a very pudgy Walter White. So I looked back at him and I was like, Dad, he's like, you should try some. I was like, no, it's not. And say I did. Actually, just to not say that I did. But that was fun. And we would always we'd have like the weirdest situations we end up to together, you know. I remember once he took me to a porn shop, full of porn in the shop. I'm sitting there, and he's like taking me home from school.
101.
Yeah, he's taking me home from school one day. I was like, I was coming from sixth form, and which is like college basically. I'm sitting in the car with him, and he goes, "I'm going to give you these tokens. Can you go in there and pick these DVDs up?" And I'm just looking at them, and I went, "Are you serious?"
No way.
Yeah, and he's like, "Just go in there." I was like, "Why can't you go in there?" And he goes, "The guy knows me."
What were the titles?
It was like Badass Bitches, like Scum Whores and stuff like that.
Booty bitches.
I love the titles of porno.
PG-13 show.
So I go straight in there, and then the guy goes to me, "Don't get those, they're softcore. I will do you a deal on some hardcore ones for like 20 quid for 10. So I go back outside and I hand my dad the softcore ones, and he goes, "Did you say anything to you?" I said, "Well, you said you'll do me a deal on some hardcore ones." He goes, "Right, here's 20 quid and go back in." I was like, "Oh, for frick's sake, why did I open my mouth?" So I'm going in there, and you know when you're trying to browse, you're trying to look like you're browsing, right? And I'm standing there thinking I'm in a porn shop, and I'm trying to look like I'm legit. What, you don't know what to say to these people. So
Make
like,
sure your hands aren't in your pockets. You're fine.
do you know what I mean? You're sitting there. You're like talking to your crack dealer. You would never sit down and have a chat with your like drug dealer or anything like that. So you're never going to have a chat with the guy who gives you porn. So I'm standing there and I'm like, "Yep, how's it going? Yeah, okay, I'll take these." And then he's looking at the DVDs and trying to get an understanding of my character, so to speak. So you like big buttholes, do you? Yeah. I'm just standing there like looking at him, thinking, like, feeling extremely embarrassed as he goes through these 10 porn DVDs, like hardcore DVDs. I get in the car, my dad puts them in the glove compartment, wraps them in a bag, pops them in there and goes, "Right, now you got to take them into the house, get them past your mother, and I'll let you have one."
Which one did you pick?
So your dad was giving you fat material?
Yes, and I found, at the time I had this huge lesbian fetish, so I was trying to find the one with the lesbians in it. That was pretty much it. But that's to you, Dad. That's to you and your kookiness.
It's amazing.
So let me guess. Were you in sync when it comes to? Sorry, Kyla. Were you in sync when you went to the island of Fapcadia?
What? Me and my dad?
Yeah.
No.
Was you jerking off your room or were you jerking off in the front room?
I never.
That's family values right there.
I never checked Snob. I never checked. I probably will never check. It's not like I ran into his room and like opened the door and said, "Dad, are you doing it too?" That's just that.
Fuck off! You put me on my. You put me on my.
Oh, my time.
You put me on my fucking flow now. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But Dad,
here
you
lies the legacy of I Got Gameplay, 2012 to 2014.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
So wait, is it like, when your friend lets you borrow a video game and you play it, like he's finished it and then you're playing it, you're like, "Oh my God, did you see that part?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's great. Just wait, it's better."
I never borrowed it. He let me have it because that was the whole point of the deal. It's like, I don't want anything that anybody else has touched.
He couldn't get to it. The DVD case was glued shut.
Everybody better watch that when it comes to PS4 and Xbox One controllers from now on. Just bring one of those sanitary napkin things. Not sanitary napkin. That sounds like a tampon or something, or a pad. Bring one of those things that you squirt under your hand, like the thing that kills all the germs, and just wrap it all around the controller.
Well, if anyone who has OCD, if they listen to this, then they are going to definitely have an OCD afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
They ain't going to touch shit.
They're going to bring their own controllers to your house.
No, they're going to take like a CSI kit. Is there any jizz on here?
So wait, you know what? It's like back in the day when people would come to your house and like it's like if you're going to have like 3 people over, you want to have 4 controllers laid out and like no one would ever have their own shit.
Whoa.
It's like now people will bring their own shit because they don't want your jerked off hands all over it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go a little bit into overtime, and if you need to check out the rest of the show, you can do by heading over to the player and check out the archive show. And I just want to give a big shout out to Xbox Fanboy for going through this journey with us. We've got a minute left, but join us on the archive show as we discuss more about my weird relationship with my father, and also the fact that you need to be very sanitary when looking for other people's porn. So we'll see you again for another episode of I Got Gameplay. And for those of you who are joining us in the archive show, we'll see you soon. So yeah, guys, as you were saying, as you're saying, Zach.
Oh, just saying, it's like if you go to someone's house and like, hey, play this Super Nintendo game, everyone's gonna jump right on it. It's like, hey, play this GameCube game, people are gonna jump right on it. It's like, yo, you want to play this PS4 game? It's like, I brought my own controller, thank you. It's like, they know.
I think. What was there? Was there a PS? There was a PS1 game that you had, which was a porn game. I'm trying to figure out what it was called.
No,
PS1.
There was actually no released licensed porn game.
No, it wasn't licensed, but it was made by an adult company, I believe, at some point. I had it, and you just like all you had to do was press a certain button on the controller. Believe it or not.
Wasn't that Sega CD?
No, this one was for the PS1. I believe I've still got a copy of it.
I'm assuming that's a PAL only game because I can't think of any.
You must send that to me. I need to play it.
I can't think of any NTSC games, even like non-legit ones that were on the PS1 that had any sort of like erotic nature to it.
I just want to give a big shout out to Kyla. She's heading over to bed, so everyone say good night to Kyla. Good night, Kyla.
No, is it all right if I take that choice too? Because I've been up since like 4 or 5.
Go for it,
last
Miguel.
Night.
Do you want to do your quick plugs, Miguel, before you go?
Oh yes, actually, because I have something more to plug than just my blog on fanboysanonymous.com, which, by the way, is 90s Kid Presents. I just got my part 3 of my top 16 games of the late 90s up. I just got to do some corrections on it and put some pictures up, but hopefully that'll be up soon. But I've got another project I'm also working on. I'm gunning for this Thursday, possibly 8 or 9 o'clock, but I am going to be doing a test run of a new series on Retro Unlimited. I believe Burhan has me on the schedule for it. I'm thinking of the names for it. The name I'm thinking about going with is the Untitled Movie Show. It's basically just going to be a series. It's basically going to be a show on my love for movies. You know, since Burhan's got the video game thing, I figured I'd take the movie thing. And this week's episode is going to be on the biggest bombs of 2013. We're going to talk about a bunch of movies that have failed because, man, this year has been pretty bad when it comes to big budget flops.
I hope you talk about the movie About Time.
Was that terrible?
Well, okay. No, it wasn't really bad. It was like so many plot holes, and it was like when I first read the review of it, the guy was like, "Hey, there's a lot of plot holes." I'm like, "Well, fuck. I mean, maybe I won't even notice them." No, they're blatantly fucking obvious. Like you won't even look for them, and they're there. Like, and I don't know. We can if you want to put that into your thing, I would love to come and talk about it.
I'm thinking more financial failures.
Stuff
okay. The Lone Ranger, the 47 Ronin, things like that. I'm going to be going mostly through with that because if I did critical failures, I'd probably have to put like Man of Steel at the top because I despise that movie more than anything.
But I'll tell you what we can do, Zach. For an episode of Movie File, we can do that movie.
Absolutely.
And I'll have you guys on as a special guest, might as well.
Let's do it.
So, Miguel, anything else that you need to plug?
Besides Fanboys Anonymous, 90s Kid Presents, no, not really. Keep on the lookout for the Untitled Movie Show, Thursday night coming up. It's either going to be 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'll have to give that some thought. More than likely 8 o'clock. And if you're interested and you want to talk about any big budget bombs that have come out this past year, definitely stop by if you want to be a part of that.
Make sure, guys, I'll make sure that I'll be on there if I'm awake. But I should be on there because I love talking movies, especially when it comes to like movies that stink. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And Miguel, we will be seeing you in a little while. So have fun, mate, and have a good night's sleep.
All right, thanks, man. Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Right, so what were you saying, Zach?
No, I was just talking about the movie I was talking about.
Yeah, you.
All right. So this movie, okay, I don't watch rom-coms, but okay, actually I do.
The only way you get laid. That's the only way you get laid. You got to watch rom-coms.
You got to watch rom-coms. Actually, I watch them alone. Anyway, yeah, it's sad. Anyway, this
with a sock puppet.
Yeah, with a sock puppet. You know, it's funny because I have an addiction to like rom-coms, romantic movies, and like teenage dramas. Don't fucking judge me. You guys don't know me.
Watch them now. You've got an addiction.
I watched every episode of Gossip Girl, not because I wanted to. All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
could I just put a stretch out there? Is Kyla the man in this relationship?
Well, Kyla watches more. It's funny because like Kyla watches like Game of Thrones, and like I was finishing up like Gossip Girl like last year, and I was like, yo, that fucking ended so well, and all this kind of shit. I look like a fucking douche asshole. I don't know. anyway, but yo, I don't give a shit. Gossip Girl had good actors in it. They were all really good actors. But anyway, okay, so I'm watching like this movie About Time because I think Rachel McAdams is fucking hot as hell. Anyway, so it's about these people. They kind of try to twist like romantic movies with like science fiction, which is cool because like the main character can like travel back in time. So like pretty much like if he goes to bang her and it's horrible, he's like, oh, excuse me, goes back in time, bangs her again, and it's like really good. So he's like, okay, cool, like I'm the man now. So anyway,
I wish I had that power. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but there's one point in the movie where the dad's like, if you go past your child being like born or conceived, a different sperm will end up making it there, so you won't have the same kid when you come back, which is what happens to him. And so like the dad has like terminal lung cancer because he smoked before his children were born, and he didn't really have the heart to go back because he wanted his kids to be, you know, the kids that he actually had. So he allowed himself, you know, I guess at that point to kind of have lung cancer and just died because he wanted them to always be his kids. Well, then randomly later the dad's like, why don't we both go back to when you're a kid and we have fun. So they both go back, and he's like 6 years old, the kid, and when the kid comes back, his kids are the exact same kids that they were when he left, so it's like, okay, well, there's nothing in the movie that's like legit. Like the rules of time travel keep changing, and it's kind of bullshit. I don't know.
Oh, I agree with you on that one, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. The movie fucking whatever. It's whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. I don't know.
So let's quickly move on from that, of course, and how About Time is shit, and go on to our plugs, ladies and gentlemen. So let's move on to what we actually love. So let's start with you, Scott. Where can we reach you, and what you got coming up next?
Well, you can reach me on youtube.com/ Grumpy Gaming HD. Sorry, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I'm starting to get a bit derpy. And yeah, you can catch me on there. And of course, my channel is now called the Console Snob, so don't be confused when you go on there. At the moment, I'm in my 3rd episode of my Neo Fest, which is a festival which I do plan to do every year, celebrating the Neo Geo. So I'm going to bring out every day or every other day a gameplay video of my choice from the Neo Geo MVS, which I own. So yeah, I'm doing gameplays. I am going to be recording a few videos tomorrow morning about games I've been playing lately. I've been doing this monthly show where I just talk about the games I've been playing lately. And of course I do pick up videos, of course, random silly humour videos. Well, more to entertain myself. I don't know if it makes anyone else laugh, but you know, I just do them for the hell of it. So yeah, I'm at the moment, NeoFest is going in full swing, and hopefully people are enjoying it.
And let's go on to John. John, what have you got coming up?
Well, before I get to my main plug, which I'm going to do in a minute, I've got a couple of new things coming up. Starting on Monday, I'm going to have a Mega Drive Monday. That's my new weekly thing that I'm doing. And I'm also doing one soon called PlayStation Tuesday. You get it? Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, I get it. PlayStation Tuesday.
But my main thing is I'm going to have a show on Monday night on the Retro Unlims network called Desert Island Games. Scott knows about this. Scott was my guest on the 2nd episode when I was doing it on YouTube. And it's basically a rip-off of Desert Island Discs, except instead of picking discs, you pick 8 retro games.
And of course your favourite item, which I said a butt plug, and you had to research it, which was a win for me.
I did a bit of research for butt plugs. I just that the wife didn't check my internet history. So that's going to be Monday night at 9 o'clock. By the way, my YouTube channel is JL76 Gaming as well. Cheap plug. But yeah, Monday night. It might be Dave, Lawn Boys Post 1975, who's a guest, but if he doesn't make it, then it's going to be Mr. Richards, Richard himself.
Ooh.
So there you go. So it'll be either Dave or Stephen will be on, hopefully tomorrow from 9 o'clock.
Awesome. Have you got any other little plugs that you want to put out there? Anything that you've done so far?
No, that's pretty much it. I've got a second channel in the pipelines, but I'm not really plugging it yet because I'm going to put a lot of stuff on it first. But it's just going to be more kind of let's plays and stuff like that. Because I think the direction I'm taking my current channel on is going to be hopefully more vloggy, heavily influenced by Dave. Probably I'm going to do the vlogs, but and mainly retro stuff. But on my second channel, I'm going to be doing what kind of current gen gameplays and things.
Awesome. So let's go over to you, Jeff. You've got a nice little announcement you want to make?
Well, I'm going to be having a show on retro myself, too. I'm going to be doing Otaku Nation on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. And the first show will be on Neon Genesis Evangelion.
So if you guys like anime and you want to check that out, you can
It's about damn time we had one on Retro and them, I'm telling you.
So there you go. We've got our very own anime reviewer with Jeff Croop.
Right.
So awesome, Jeff. Make sure you check out Desert Island Games Mondays at 9 p.m. BST, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You also got Otaku Nation, which is going to be on 8 p.m. EST and 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday nights. And also check out I Got Gameplay every Saturday at 8 p.m. now home on the Retro Unlim network. So we're going to have more new shows coming, guys. So watch this space. I'm in negotiations to try and get some shows taken from podcasts and put them on the live format because it's a great thing. We've got a lovely network here and a great slew of hosts, hopefully who are going to be taking us up on the offer. So let's go on to you, Braeden. What you got for us?
Not much from some of things.
Braeden? I think he's probably fallen asleep. Zach, what about yourself?
Yep. All right, then you can find us at youtube.com/getting your nerd on. You can also find the band that I'm in at killtac9.bandcamp.com. That's KILTAC, the number 9.bandcamp.com. We're actually about to record our new album in 3 weeks called You're Welcome. Right now you can hear The Promised Flavor, which is our newest one out. And you can also find Getting Your Nerd On on Facebook. Just search Getting Your Nerd On. You can find it there. And if that uses spaces, so Getting space, Your space, Nerd space on. And if you don't want to do all that stuff, you can just find us on YouTube, and we have a Facebook and Twitch link from there. So thank you, and yeah.
And of course, Xander.
All right, well, I actually just recently joined the Retro Unlim network, so you guys can see my videos on Retro Unlim, but you can also check me out on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Xander Skullion. And I also host a podcast, Excess Gaming Podcast, that you can listen to on Podomatic.com or on iTunes. And actually, I'm going to be recording a new episode on Tuesday, joined with the wonderful Michael Burhan. So he's getting a double dose of Xander Skullion. So
I always love Xander in double doses.
Second helping. But yeah, I do a video weekly. I'm actually getting some stuff together for the video for this week, and it's kind of funny because we were talking about video game memories, and that's something I talk a lot about in my videos, and I haven't done a video game memories video in a while, so this next one's going to be going back to that format. So check it out on youtube.com.
And last but not least, of course, Travis.
Yes. I talked about my YouTube channels, and I'll plug them again. It's www.youtube.com/rosecoloredreviews, the show where I take a look at classic television shows, video games, and movies, and through Rose Carlenza, see if they still stand the test of time. And I got a Let's Play channel. It's www.youtube.com/RoseColoredLet'sPlay. Just actually last night I recorded a new Let's Play, which will be posting here real soon. It's of me playing NES Remix. And
it's so fun.
It's my first impressions video, so I'm going to get that posted here real soon. And I got some other ones I'm going to be putting up on not only on YouTube, but also on DailyMotion.com. I signed up, I got an account on there. And, of course, I'm very proud to be part of RetroUnlim.com. A really awesome group of people. I'm glad to be part of it. And if you guys want to get a hold of me personally, I got a Facebook account. It's TravisScott79. And, of course, you can find me here each and every Saturday night on I can't fucking say the name. You can find me every Saturday night here on I Got Gameplay. And, of course, Tuesday nights I host another show on another network. And should I go and plug it or no? I don't know.
You can do, yeah. I don't mind. You can plug it here. I'm not generally biased against any other networks you work on. Go for it.
Okay. And on Tuesday nights on Mega Powers Radio, I co-host a show with a couple of really cool cats. It's Geek Speak, and it's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Each week we have a different set topic, and good time had by all. So go check it out.
And also check out Braeden Mayhew on youtube.com/Spoodbeast. SPOODBEEST. And he's also on fanboysanonymous.com as well, and also frequently a member of the I Got Gameplay podcast. I want to give a huge shout out to a very, very lovely individual, someone that has really put a smile on my face for the last couple of days, and that's Samantha Jennings. For those of you who don't know, Sam has been going on a huge publicity blender for us. You know, she's been going on the YouTube channel, doing some paid YouTube likes and stuff for us as well on I Got Gameplay, and literally taking the initiative and going out there to try and get us as much publicity as possible. Sam, we love you to pieces. Hope to see you again on next week's episode. You've really, I can't say how much it means to me that you actually done this and how much it means to everybody who participated in IGG. And let's look forward to 2014 as IGG goes to bigger and better things, guys. And thank you to everybody out there for us. Last few plugs, of course, for me. I've got a movie out on DailyMotion.com. It's on the video on demand service called The East London Story, Slap or Die. This movie was supposed to be released in 2007. Never found a release date. I managed to get the rights over it, so I've released it. It's a bit cheesy. Just to warn you, I've actually going to be doing a movie file on it as well. That's been done. I've just got to edit it and put it out there, which is reviewing this entire movie and talking about why the movie was so good but it was bad at the same time. So check that out, guys, if you want to basically get a review and have a look what you think about, an honest opinion of what I think about the movie, because every time I do these movie files and I take shots at people, I'm one person as well who needs to learn my lessons, and I did from this. You can also check out I Got Gameplay again every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Nerdgenius.com, youtube.com/TheNerdGenius, or dailymotion.com/NerdGenius. I've got both the channels up and running at the moment. This Job for Hire episode 3 should debut tomorrow. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. I'm trying to basically do those and other stuff at the same time, so make sure you guys check that out. And remember, guys, from Michael Burhan, Xander Skullion, Zack Latour, Kyla Dipetro, Braeden Mayhew, Jeff Croop, Travis Goss, Scott Bailey, John Latimer, and of course, Shaun Walker. Just remember that we've got gameplay. Have you?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he just ruined it.
Trolled.